A sponsorship story involving Alexandra Eala just leaked, and the numbers being thrown around are so large that people are calling her the highest-paid athlete in Philippine history. But here is where it gets complicated. Not everything circulating online is what it appears to be. Some of it is real, some of it is manufactured. And the line between the two has become almost impossible for ordinary fans to find before you believe the headlines. Stay here, because the truth is actually more powerful than the rumor. It started when she was 8. She was 8 years old when she signed her first sponsorship deal. 8 years old. Most children that age are still figuring out how to tie their shoelaces. Alexandra Eala was already being handed contracts. Globe Telecom signed her as a brand ambassador before she had ever played a professional match, before she had a ranking, before she had a single headline to her name. They saw something they did not yet know precisely what they were investing in, but they knew enough to act. That was just the beginning. As the years passed and the trophies began arriving, the brands followed. Babolat supplied her rackets from the earliest days of her junior career. Nike signed her in 2019. The Bank of the Philippine Islands came on board in 2022, positioning her as a symbol of discipline and financial ambition. One by one, respected names attached themselves to a girl who had not yet turned 20. But none of those deals set the internet on fire. They were smart and strategic, exactly the kind of endorsements you would expect for a promising junior player climbing through the rankings quietly. The world outside the Philippines barely noticed. And then Miami happened, the run that changed everything. Ranked 140th in the world, Eala received a wild card for the 2025 Miami Open. She did not simply compete, she tore through the draw, defeating Iga Swiatek and Madison Keys before reaching the semifinals. In professional tennis, wild cards do not defeat five-time Grand Slam champions. That is not how the story is supposed to go, but Eala did not read that script. Overnight, everything changed. The clips went viral. Filipinos who had never watched a tennis match in their lives were suddenly wide awake at 3 in the morning watching a 20-year-old from Quezon City dismantle the world's best players. Sky Sports presenter Gigi Salmon said it plainly in terms of her appeal. The crowds that follow her, she might already be the biggest star. Even Coco Gauff began apologizing to opposing fans for taking up Eala's match time. When a fellow Grand Slam champion is doing that on a live microphone, something has shifted permanently. The sponsors who had been casually watching stopped watching. They started calling. Here was something brands spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to manufacture, a genuine, emotionally resonant, globally significant story unfolding in real time on every court Eala walked onto. She was no longer simply a tennis player. She had become a movement, and movements do not come cheap. Then the chaos began. It started as so many things do now, with a Facebook post. September 2025, Eala had just won her first WTA 125 title in Guadalajara, Mexico, becoming the first Filipino to win a WTA 125 singles title, defeating Panna Udvardy in the final. The Philippines was celebrating. The momentum was electric, and into that atmosphere of national pride, someone dropped a fabricated bomb. A post began circulating rapidly claiming that Wilson Sporting Goods had offered Eala a $45 million endorsement deal, and that she had accepted. It included a manufactured quote attributed to Eala herself, describing how she planned to use the money to help her fellow Filipinos rather than keep it for herself. The post was designed to be emotionally irresistible, patriotic, selfless, heroic. Within hours, it had exploded. The Facebook page that published the claim gathered over 103,000 likes, 6,700 comments, and 3,100 shares. People were tagging friends, parents were forwarding it in family group chats. Filipinos living abroad were sending it to each other as confirmation that one of their own had finally reached the absolute top. There was only one problem: it was entirely false. Fact-checkers at both Rappler and Vera Files investigated and confirmed there was no official statement from Wilson Sporting Goods, no announcement from Eala's verified accounts, and no credible reporting from any reputable news organization. The photograph used in the post featured a Wilson executive who had actually resigned from the company just 3 days before the post appeared. Someone had done their research carefully, selecting names, images, and a moment of national euphoria, and weaponizing all of it deliberately. The damage was already done. Corrections travel at a walking pace. Rumors travel at the speed of light for millions of people. Eala had already become the girl who turned down $45 million for the sake of her country. Other invented deals followed. Emirates Airlines A $134.5 million record contract, each one more dramatic than the last, each one spreading faster than the one before it. Meanwhile, the real Alexandra Eala kept showing up to tournaments, kept grinding, and kept winning what was actually real. Let us talk about what was verified, confirmed, and actually happened, because amid the fabricated millions, a genuine story was unfolding quietly, one that the fact-checkers covered but the fan pages largely ignored. In February 2026, Milo Philippines launched its Active Filipinos 2026 campaign, a massive grassroots sports initiative tied to the 50th anniversary of the National Milo Marathon, and they chose Eala as one of their lead ambassadors alongside pole vaulting champion EJ Obaina. Think about what Milo represents in the Philippines. It is not simply a brand, it is a memory the drinker mother made before school, the energy behind a generation of athletes who grew up dreaming through Milo Little Olympics events and Milo sports clinics, and Eala had grown up as one of those children. Her transition from grassroots participant to world-class professional embodied the brand's 60-year legacy of developing champions. She appeared via video from Dubai mid-tournament, speaking directly to the young athletes gathered at the launch, telling them that her story had begun exactly where theirs was starting now. That moment landed differently than any fabricated 45 million headline could, because it was true, because it was genuinely her, because the little girl who had once participated in Milo sports clinics was now the face of them. Meanwhile, the broader sponsorship landscape around her was becoming extraordinary in ways that required no exaggeration. Sources within the tennis industry confirmed that major global companies were comparing Eala's trajectory to Emma Raducanu following her 2021 US Open breakthrough, noting that both players possessed massive fan bases across Japan, China, and the Philippines, and the kind of global appeal that brands spend years trying to identify and never quite find. By March 16, 2026, Eala had reached a career-high WTA ranking of world number 29, the highest-ranked Filipino in WTA history and the first to break into the top 30. That number carries weight that no fabricated dollar figure can match. Rankings determine which tournaments you enter, which seedings you receive, which stages you compete on, and a world number 29 ranking at 20 years old places you in direct conversation with the best players alive. Nike, who had been with her since 2019, had already made their valuation clear. At Wimbledon 2025, they gifted her a custom hair tie shaped like a sampaguita blossom, the national flower of the Philippines. Months later, they released a limited edition shirt designed in her honor by Filipino artist Georgina Canis, featuring the sampaguita overlaid on the All England Club's grass courts. These are not the gestures you make for an athlete you are casually sponsoring. These are deliberate statements of long-term investment in a story that is still being written. The weight nobody talked about here is where it gets uncomfortable, because while fans were celebrating and brands were circling, a deeper and more important question was beginning to surface. Was any of this actually good for Alexandra Eala herself? There is a weight that comes with being called the Manny Pacquiao of tennis. It sounds like a compliment. It is a compliment, but it is also a pressure that no 20-year-old should have to carry entirely alone. Filipino sports journalist and former tennis player Diane Castillejo noted that Eala was already being treated as though she were a multiple Grand Slam champion before she had won a single Grand Slam main draw match. As a professional, the expectations, the social media commentary, the headlines, real and fabricated, that attached themselves to every match, every interview, and every outfit she wore on court. When the 45 million Wilson story broke, the reaction was revealing. People did not simply celebrate the supposed deal, they debated what she should do with the money. They critiqued the fabricated quote, a 20-year-old who was somewhere on a tennis court focused entirely on the next match had become the subject of a national conversation she had never started and could not control. Observers pointed out that misinformation flourished around Eala precisely because the gaps in authentic coverage of her sponsorship situation left a vacuum, and into that vacuum bad actors poured fabricated millions, invented quotes, and manufactured heroism. The consequences were real fans who had believed the Wilson deal were genuinely hurt when they discovered it was false. Some redirected their frustration not at the pages that created the hoax, but at the fact-checkers who had responsibly debunked it, treating correction as an attack on Eala's success rather than protection of the truth. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise was Alexandra Eala herself, who had said nothing, done nothing, and was simply trying to win tennis matches. In one interview, speaking about the support she had received at Indian Wells, she said quietly, "It means the world to have this community behind me for them to make the effort to stay up late and stay in the cold and cheer me on. It really added to the feelings and the emotions. She was not talking about money. She was not talking about sponsorships. She was talking about belonging, about feeling seen, not as a symbol, but as a person. That is the tension. The sponsorship storm never fully resolved. The brands want the symbol, the fans want the icon, but who protects the human being underneath all of it? The verified truth. So let us cut through everything and lay it out plainly. The $45 million Wilson deal fabricated, debunked by multiple independent fact-checking organizations. No official statement from Wilson, no announcement from Eala, no credible reporting from any reputable source. The $134.5 million record contract, unverified clickbait produced by websites designed to generate traffic using Eala's name, with no sourcing, no confirmation, and no accountability. The Emirates Airlines deal similarly debunked. And here is what is real, what is documented, what cannot be disputed. Alexandra Eala is the first Filipina to win a Grand Slam junior singles title, the first Filipina to crack the WTA top 100, the top 50, and the top 30, the first wild card in WTA history to defeat 3 Grand Slam champions in straight sets at a single event, a career-high ranking of world number 29 at 20 years old, with a 43 record against top 10 players. These are records, these are facts, and facts are worth more to a serious brand than any manufactured headline. Her genuine sponsors, Nike, Babolat, Globe Telecom, BPI, and locally Juice, each recognized her discipline, her marketability, and her global reach before most of the world had caught on. They were right, and the world is now catching up. Her Milo partnership in 2026 carries a significance that transcends any commercial arrangement. It is a full-circle moment. A girl who grew up participating in Milo sports clinics, now serving as the face of those very programs. As Milo's VP of Marketing, Lawrence Lorico, described it, she understands that her own Milo story can inspire others to grow from grassroots beginnings to greatness. That is not a tagline, that is a truth. Industry insiders continue to confirm that a list global companies are in active discussions, that the next major deal, the one that could genuinely redefine her earning power, may be considerably closer than anyone outside those conversations currently knows. When it arrives, it will not need to be leaked on Facebook. It will be announced. It will be real, and it will be entirely deserved. What it actually means: the fake stories spread because people wanted them to be true. They wanted a 20-year-old Filipina to be worth $45 million to the world. What they did not realize was that the real version of that story, the quiet, verified, documented version, was already happening. It just did not arrive in a single dramatic announcement. It came slowly, match by match, record by record, deal by deal. When she said, "I think my 5-year-old self would be proud but not too surprised. As long as I can remember, this has been my dream." There was something in those words that cut through every headline ever written about her. Not the bravado of an athlete who had arrived, the quiet certainty of someone who had always known where she was going, even when the world around her was in chaos. About it, Eala was signed at 8. She reached number 29 at 20. She defeated Grand Slam champions as a wild card. She inspired a country and the brands that believed in her early are watching her vindicate every peso they invested. The highest paid athlete story is not over. It is just getting started, and the next chapter will be real.